Hello. Good afternoon. It is another joyful Thursday afternoon. And this afternoon, we are actually presenting to you the joys of living great. This episode of the Joys of Living Great is a continuation of preparing to get back to school. So we are actually doing a series of how we can actually look at all of the people who are involved in going back to school. Last week's episode was about parents and how the parents can prepare students for being back to school and how parents are able to actually influence the joy that children have in going back to school. Let me tell you a little bit about the Joys of Living Great. This program is one that is set for women of all nations, all colors, everywhere in the world. It's a program that you've not heard before. It's a program you've not seen before. It's a format that's somewhat different from most of the other Win-Win Women shows. This show is brought to you on the Win-Win Women Network. And as a result, we are here to encourage women, to inspire women, to give you the keys to a joyful life. Today, we're going to be talking about teachers. We're going to discuss the teachers' roles. We will talk about what it means to be a teacher. This is a panel discussion, and it's open to our show host, our guests who are here. And actually, what we want to accomplish is to learn more about what a teacher goes through, how a teacher finds joy, how a teacher actually inspires that child who, when they become an adult, they never, ever forget their teacher. So I'm going to start with questions. And the first question is, are any of you who are our co-host, or any of you, or have you ever been a teacher?
Yes, Faye. This is Brenda Sawyer, and I have been a teacher. In fact, I'm a retired school teacher of almost 12 years now, over 12 years. And I taught almost for 30. So I am a teacher, still a teacher, because I believe everyone is a teacher and can be a teacher.
Oh, great. So what grades did you teach, Brenda?
Well, I taught nursery through 8th grade. That was quite a challenge.
Nursery through 8th grade?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And how many years were you in the education field?
Almost 30. Yes.
Oh, okay.
30.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So then you have some really good experiences to share. Can you think of something that stands out in your mind from a teacher's perspective of when you were actually going back to school that very first week?
Yes. Well, the very first week going back to school, kind of hectic, but still joyful because, it's the beginning of a new season, a new year for the children, new students. And because I have a passion for teaching, I always enjoyed that because I was getting the students ready, preparing the new books, unpacking books. Right after summer vacation, we had books all, boxes of books in the classroom. So we'd have to unpack the books. And we also had to, in the midst of that, we also had to have meetings. So we had to have meetings, unpack the books, get the children, the room ready for the students, so that it could be conducive for learning. So that's what I did. And I have to remind you that there was no air condition at all. So I taught almost 30 years with no air, but still, because teaching is a passion, was a passion, still is a passion. I enjoyed that every minute of it. I enjoyed it. even with,
Now, because we're talking to women all over the world, and you say there was no air conditioning, for some people, that would sound like the cruelest form of punishment. But you are in the Northeast
Yeah.
of the United States, so it does not get quite as hot during the time that school is in as it might in Florida, California, Arizona. So that kind of may be one of the reasons that air conditioning wasn't really a priority for the Board of Ed, but I'm sure heating and oil was, right? Because you
oh,
was
yes,
very warm
definitely.
during those snow days.
Yes, definitely so. Yes.
Okay.
Mm.
So now, how were you able to do all those grades? Was it all in one classroom or?
No, I taught nursery school through 8th grade, so I had different grades each time, each year. I started off with elementary education, early childhood, so that would be 3-year-olds to 8th grade. So I started off with the 2-year-olds, and then I gradually moved into second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth.
Oh, okay. You know
Yeah,
what? See, in my brain, because I've never been a teacher,
yeah.
in my brain, I'm thinking you're teaching all those different
No,
ages at one time, but you obviously weren't. That
no.
why I jumped to that conclusion, I have no idea, because that would be kind of hard to do, I think.
But there was a challenge one year in the public schools where I had to teach 2 classes at one time. And it was called a split class. So I had a 4th grade and a 5th grade. So I believe there were maybe 18 of the 4th graders and 15 of the 5th graders. It was a challenge that I've never done that before, but that was a challenge. And it was good. I enjoyed it. I split
Mm,
one part of the board down, and one side was 4th grade work,
mhm.
second side was 5th grade work. And then sometimes for the spelling, we did all of that together. So we all came together with the spelling. So we did that, and kind of made it
Okay.
a little bit easier. But yeah, that was a challenge and worked out well though.
So now teaching as a profession, we all know, we think of the teachers in the classroom, and it is a profession. You have to have special training. You do go to college and you are trained to be a teacher. You take those courses that are required. And then in most states, I assume you have to do some kind of testing or pass some kind of exams or whatever to actually sit to be a teacher.
Yeah.
So, for anyone else who is one of our co-hosts, can you think of a time when something that you've done that is not related to a classroom situation, but actually put you into a teaching role? Are there any other teaching roles that you can think of? Our topic today is everyone is a teacher.
Yeah, I have something I could add. Because I'm a stylist, we would train some of the young ladies coming out of cosmetology school that were trained. We trained them as shampoo assistants to assist us so they could learn, you know, in the trade, so they could grow as a stylist also. So that's another form of teaching also. And I feel like we teach by our life living also, because people are always watching us. So the way we go through things and endure, people are watching, so they're learning. Even when we testify, they're learning. We're teaching them something. So we're teaching all the time.
Absolutely, definitely. So as a profession and as a professional, you're teaching those young ladies how to do what you do as a trade, but the added point that you're making, which is so great, is that we all teach by the lives that we live, the examples that we set. There's always an opportunity for us to actually interact with others. Does anybody have an experience that you can think of that you may not have even thought it was a teaching moment, and you may not have even thought of yourself as a teacher, but something comes to mind where, as a result of your interaction with someone else, it actually was a teaching and learning situation.
I have a time, Faye. Speaking of teaching and everyone being a teacher, I'm good with arts and crafts. And I've been very good with it ever since high school. I love that. And I know how to knit and crochet. So when I used to deal with children, when I was counseling children, I would teach them how to crochet. The parents wanted them to learn, they wanted to learn, and I learned how to arm knit was the latest craze at that time, that you could just use your arms and knit an infinity sweater, scarf. And they enjoyed it. And I found it was very easy for me, but I would find how to show that person how to do it. And each person was different. So I was teaching them. And I did the same thing at my job. A couple of girls wanted to learn who had never, ever even picked up a needle. And I showed them. And whatever the latest craze was, like I said, the infinity scarves, I showed them how to do that also. So, and I knew then that I could show people how to do something like an instruction.
So we always think of teachers as being the person who's actually demonstrating, right?
Yes.
And as Elena said, you can demonstrate by your life actions. That's a teaching moment that we live every day, which people don't even realize. Now, in some of your other professions, give us an example of how you teach people that will help to enrich their lives.
All right, I think anyone who is in leadership positions on jobs in their churches automatically should be in the category of a teacher some kind of way, because like Elena said, you're always being watched. You're being watched. Even when you're not in leadership, you're being watched. So imagine, like for instance, I'm an elder's wife. My husband's an elder, automatic. Praise and worship leader automatic. Some things are just automatic. You're in a leadership role just because you're before the people. And then, for me, teaching in a praise and worship leader role, I have to teach singers songs and work with musicians. So with the musicians and I do things back and forth, we're actually teaching each other or getting to learn. I'll say maybe we're both teaching and learning at the same time, where we're learning how they flow so I can get on board with them and vice versa. And, then teaching, vocal exercises and words and tones and blendings, it grows into another aspect, of teaching. You never think of it as that. It's just like, we're learning a few songs, we're learning, but yeah, well, there has to be a teacher in order for somebody to learn, so, but it's like leadership is really a platform position. You really have no hiding place. So you're always, you're always on to be a teacher in some aspect, how you live, how you talk to people. You show people how to treat people by the way you treat them and things like that. So, leadership positions in my thoughts, are absolutely a teaching position.
One of the keys to a good leader would be that you're able to communicate, and teaching is actually communicating. And you have to recognize, as I'm sure those who are or have been former professional teachers, you are taught and trained that not everyone learns in the same way. So as a teacher, and I think for me, in conducting meetings where I'm explaining benefits or I'm giving direction about benefits, it means that if I'm talking to someone and they didn't get it, as the teacher, I need to be able to rephrase it, rethink it, and say it in a way or give it to the recipient in a way that they can actually receive it. It's important that as we are communicating as teachers, and we're sometimes unaware that we are, but it's the way we are communicating to people and people are learning. So whenever there's a learning opportunity, there's a teaching opportunity as well. Anyone here who is not a teacher, but felt that at some point in your life that might have been your calling, but you just did not do it?
Well, perhaps I can speak to that. Am I off mute? There have been times where I felt like if I were in a classroom setting, I could have really made a difference with a group of people or an individual. I do feel I have a calling in one other area, but within that area, I found opportunities to teach. And my audience was captive most of the time. But I was able to give life skills. I was able to give even a word of life to individuals who at some point felt, hopeless, did not know where they were going. So it's always, as a matter of fact, when I retired, one of the thoughts were that I would go and actually do the test for a teaching certificate and go back into the public school system. However, it just didn't go that way. I have that other calling that I have is just taken over that portion of it. But I'm grateful. I'm grateful because not only in that capacity in the workplace as a supervisor, I found many opportunities to not only do on-the-job training as it pertained to policies and procedures, but even teaching in an area where discipline needed to be imposed.
Thank you so much for adding that in. I want you all to know that the lawn man is doing the lawn, so I was trying very, very hard not to have that noise in the background. Please forgive me. Some things, it seems every week, happens beyond my control. So I'm so sorry, but Letitia, you do teaching every day, don't you?
I do, Faye. I'm sorry. I'm tickled at you right now. Okay.
It's okay. Laugh at me. It's okay.
But yes, I was just thinking that, and going back to your question about did I miss my calling in teaching? And so I find myself now that I'm teaching more and more every day for people who are in business, who wants to go to the next level. And so just being able to share what I've learned and to be in that teaching moment, it just everything, because the more I'm able to share and help them, it's a teachable moment for myself as well. I'm able to receive back what that teaching moment is. And not just that too, I think about Sunday school teachers, Bible class teachers. I've also do that as well as a teacher. But it's more for me, more of studies from Bible class or from Sunday school. Just sharing the word and just being able to, I do children right away, children, and just be able to share with them the word, the gospel, and how they can receive the knowledge just from the word itself, and how they can go back and tell their parents what they've learned. And it teaches me how kids are awesome, how they can retain so much. If you can just break it down and make it very simplified for them, how much they can retain. And it teaches me that no matter what level you're on, everybody can be taught, and everybody is a teacher as well.
You are so right. You're so right. Remember, ladies, that our topic is everybody is a teacher. So teaching becomes just a form of communication. It's something that we do all the time, and it's something that is with us all the time. I'm thinking, I can remember when I first started in my insurance career, and I worked with a lot of large groups, employer groups. So it meant actually doing seminars and explaining benefits to retirees. And I was often asked when I was not in that setting, what do you do? Are you a teacher? And I never thought of myself as a teacher, because when someone mentioned teacher to me, I thought about little children.
Mhm.
And I thought about my patients. And I knew that my patients was not going to allow me to teach little children. But what I've learned over the years is, in teaching the market that I do work with, I really enjoy it. They're so appreciative. Seniors are so appreciative, and just communicating with them. And when you tell them something that they did not know, they are so grateful. So there is a reward to being a teacher, not just to children, but to adults as well. Let me ask you one more question, and that is, and think about it, and anyone who feels that they would like to answer may do so, but this question is, how would you feel if you were asked today, and probably everyone could give an answer to this, give a little short answer. How would you feel if you were asked today to teach a class about what you know best? How would you feel? How would you react? What would be your reaction?
I would jump on that. I would jump on it quickly, because what I do best is what I love. Very easy to teach something that you love doing. For me, is singing. Anything music is something that I love doing. I have a couple other things. I love my job. You know, I'm in the mental health field. And even in that, we teach people skills to improve behaviors and responses. So any chance I would get to be able to share that, you know, share information. I mean, we learn information to give it anyway. I think the best instructor or teacher is one who learns, you know, who loves
Yes.
to learn, you know, and always taking more information just to share more. So I think it's a cyclical thing as far as
Right.
teaching, but I absolutely would jump on that for either, you know, singing,
Great.
most of all, you know.
Okay, anybody else?
I would
Knowing
also,
the skills that you have, and
Yeah.
someone asked you, would you like to teach someone else? What would be your reaction?
for
I would
me,
be
oh,
too.
sorry. Go ahead.
I work as a tax professional, and you have to go to school, you learn it, you learn the computer, but you have to teach the people how to use the system and also how to engage with the client. So, and those things I'm very skilled at, because I've been working with people all my life, adults and children. And you have to know how to be able to do both at the same time. You have to multitask, work on that computer, doing the tax, and you're gonna have to engage the client and get the information at the same time. And I can do that. And I have been doing it.
So if someone asked you, let's say you weren't doing it, you decided you were going to retire, and someone came up to you and said, I have a group of 25 people who need to learn this, what would be your response?
Yes, I could. And something that I don't do in the tax field, actually teach one of the courses, but I know I'm able to teach a course. The
So
course, the
you
actual,
would jump again at the idea and the opportunity to teach what you know, right?
yes.
Okay, that's good, because everybody has to know their lane. And
Yeah.
so you know what you can do. So that's important. That's very, very important. Elena?
Yes, I would also jump on it now because where I am now, I see how the Holy Spirit prepares me for everything. See, I didn't have that knowledge. When I was asked to teach ninth grade cosmetology, I said no. But where I am now, I would jump on it because he's going to prepare me for anywhere he sends me. Because every time you give us a question, and once I start to just look over, he starts giving me what to say. So right now, yes, and it will be not a problem.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like
All right.
how she said God prepares her for whatever the teaching moment. I like how she says that. And my answer will be yes too, because whatever you know, the knowledge you have, someone else will be eager to learn that from you. And then God will prepare the rest for you. So I love how she said that.
That's great. That's it's the saying that we all use. If God gives you a vision, he will also give you the provision.
Exactly.
So, I mean, he's told Moses didn't think he could talk, but God told him he could.
You're right about that.
So, yes, you're going to be able to do it. So, Regina, if you're asked based on all of the vast experience and knowledge you've had in the system, with probation, I believe, and you can correct me if I'm not correct, but being in that system and working all those years with the experience that you have, if someone came to you and said, I have 25 people and they need to learn what you know, what would be your response?
Oh, I'm not in probation and parole, but that's a no-brainer for me. Anyone, it didn't even have to matter if I'm in a retired state like I am now, but anyone that showed the slightest bit of interest of knowing something or trying to glean information from me, I willingly gave it. I willingly gave up my time when it came for individuals that were studying for a promotional exam, because I went up the ranks very, very quickly. I was often sought out. Teach me how you did so well on the examination. And I love being a mentor. I love teaching or showing or demonstrating to anyone any of the skills that I have, because as others have said, I don't believe I've been gifted just to be placed on a showcase. I
Okay,
think we're all
great.
gifts, and we're gifts and
Mhm.
we're wrapped very nicely. God puts a beautiful bow on us, but that bow is there for someone else to unwrap, to get the contents of what we have that God has gifted us with. So I mean, it's a no-brainer for me. It doesn't
Okay.
matter. You can be from 8 to 80 or 0 to 101. That's
No
fine with me.
brainer. I love it.
It's a
I love
no-brainer
it.
for
No
me.
brainer. That's
Yeah.
wonderful. Brenda, if you were asked to go back and just teach one more time, what would be your response?
I would love to do it, but I would say in a different capacity, not in a classroom.
Okay,
So,
so
yeah, I
remember,
would do it.
everybody is a teacher.
Yes.
So the reason I asked that question, ladies, is everybody is a teacher. So what you brought out was some of you will jump on it right away. Others, if it's pertaining to exactly what you know and you're not going out of your lane, you would definitely do it. Because you believe that you are a mentor, you would definitely do it. All of those things together boil down to the fact that we're all given talents, we all have skills, and you are willing and you're able to use your skills to teach someone else in whatever capacity comes before you. And that's the point. Everybody is a teacher. So everybody has the opportunity to teach And don't forget, listen and learn has to be with all of us as we go out, if we're voluntarily teaching or we're paid to teach. We need to listen and learn as well.
That's why I'm so grateful for this platform, Faye, that we